Good morning. Go ahead, clap once if you can hear me. Boom, clap twice. Edgar, hello. I didn't say hello yet. Good morning. All right, well, let's kick it off like we do every day or every Thursday with Tell Me Something Good. There's a lot of things to celebrate in the industry. Mr. Tom Davis, you got anything you want to share?
Yeah, I'm excited. David Tripoletti's joining our team. David, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Happy to be here. My name is David, David Folsom, and same life, 36 years. I mean, I think I haven't talked to her yet, so I think I still have.
Yeah, last you heard.
That's 3 children, 36, 33, and 30. I'm been around the real estate industry with mortgages and things like that, and building industry my whole life. I started full-time about 5 years ago. So I'm a new.
Oh, come on, he's very humble.
No, I'm just happy to join the powerful team.
Awesome. Glad to have you here. All right. Yeah.
I normally don't have anything good happen. When I came to this morning, I had such a pleasant surprise because my friend, he's a friend now, okay? You guys heard of reverse mortgages? Okay, so after my experience with him, okay, it's kind of like, this is why we do what we do for the right people and for the right reasons. Okay, gentlemen, his wife passed away 4 years ago, has a rundown, nice lot in Granite Bay, got him cash. In fact, Drew brokered a deal for an investor. Bottom line is this guy is able to get a reverse mortgage, no mortgage payments, and he can live off of $1,200 a month, Social Security, and he's happy as a lark. And not only that, okay, he also has enough money from the sale of this property to go in and generate possible income at the end of the year. And also he was able to purchase a $500,000 house in Lincoln Hills, and he is ecstatic. So right now, I know it's for people that are 62 and over, right? There's a lot of people that are 62 and over that go through some challenges. And the thing is, so many people do not understand reverse mortgages. And I had 3 meetings, and I went with every meeting because I wanted to learn about it. So now there is another market out there. Grandma, grandpa, whatever. There's a lot of people. And you know what? The reason they don't look into it is they don't understand it. And it takes good bedside manners and patience to walk these people through.
Nobody's disagreeing with you, Barry. Nobody's disagreeing with you. Yeah.
I was wondering where that came from. And I was so right. But anyway, hey, Fat Stanley, will you stand up?
Sure.
Okay.
Saying that it was great. It was a great transaction. It like makes my heart warm just thinking about Dale.
Well, you know, it only cost me $20, you know, or I only got $20 from him, so.
There we go.
Oh, no,
Awesome.
I was very, very happy. He significantly changed his entire life. And that's what we do with people like him. So I'm done.
Thanks for sharing. Thanks for sharing, Steve. All right. Regina, you got some good news?
So I'm as well, and I'm so honored to be here. My good news is that I am working with 2 investors, have some things in the pipeline with them. And it's just been a great learning process, a great growing process, and happy to be a part of that. Yeah.
Exciting. Well done. Oh, God. And then, where is she? Where's the boss lady? Boss lady, stand up. Stand up. Tell us something good. We can't see you back there.
Got since pipeline this week. It's good. And 3 buyers that I'm taking out from the property.
Where are you getting the buyers from? Like what's
One's a referral, one just, I think, an old lead that I've been following up with for a year and a half or something. Yeah, but referrals are always the best, right? Somebody the past client I sold a property to from Beale Air Force Base, so a lot of new friends over there at Beale, so we get
wonderful. All right, well done. Great job. Okay, so real quick, if you haven't already, make sure you screenshot that QR code that's on the screen. If you want to be notified via text of upcoming meetings, we get a lot of questions. Hey, is there a meeting this week? Hey, who's the speaker going to be? Oh, I forgot to come. Can you do a better job reminding me? We have solved that problem. All you have to do is scan the QR code and register, and you will get text alerts. Sound good? Awesome. All right, so let me share my screen. Go ahead.
Leave that for just one more second.
Can you throw it back up? Can you throw the QR code back up? All right, you guys good? All right, and so what I wanted to show really quick are some also upcoming events. We do have Maui coming up fast. It's hard to believe January is just next month. So less than 60 days, we're going to be over in Maui. And then right after that is Cabo. So if you haven't gotten your tickets already, make sure you're registering for those two events. Next week as well, we are going to be having Verl Workman. He's going to be speaking to us about those lawsuits that are happening with NAR or happened with NAR and are now just kind of spreading like wildfire across the country. And he was on what you think the new landscape is going to look like. He said, absolutely. And he's actually going to tell us his thoughts before he even shares it with Inman in New York. So we get the inside scoop on that. So you do not want to miss next Thursday. With that, I have some, before we get into the speakers for today, Mr. JJ Mack, what is happening in the wonderful world of loans? Everybody, welcome to the front room, JJ.
Guys, good to see you all again. Happy Thursday. I'm JJ Mack. I work for American Pacific Mortgage, loan officer, branch manager. And I wanted to share some statistics with you, and then I wanted to share a sad story, but it has a happy ending. But I wanted to share a sad story. But before I do that, something really quick. Interest rates, second week in a row, coming here today and telling you that rates are still better.
Yay.
Better.
That'll tell me something good.
Yeah, there you go. And we have a jobs report tomorrow. Jobs report tomorrow should, hopefully, cross our fingers, continue to make rates continue to improve. Jobs should weaken. We'll continue to see unemployment numbers go up, which means that rates are going to get better. Inflation goes down, rates get better. So hopefully we continue to see that tomorrow. I wanted to share another statistic. When I was reading this, I can't remember what it was on, but it was talking about the equity that we have in Placer County. It's increased by over 7.8% in appreciation has increased by 7.8% in 1 year. Wow. I want to talk about the housing bubble, right? A lot of people are still saying we're in this housing bubble. And so, 7.8% in a year. So, okay, great. Okay, that maybe, things are continuing to go up. Maybe we're going to see this collapse. But then the average homeowner currently has 58% equity in their home. Okay, how does that correlate to a housing bubble? Well, when we were in a housing bubble, they only had 19% equity in their home on average. So a lot of people didn't have equity, where now a lot of people do have equity. And then with this recent dip of interest rates, we have seen loan applications increase by 36%.
Wow.
That's a huge amount. And that's only, remember when I came in here and we talked about 8% interest rates? Well, we aren't at 8% anymore. We're down at 7%. So we've come down 1% in interest rate. So that's not a huge dip, but we've already seen that much increase in applications. What do you think is going to happen when interest rates continue to decrease even more? What is the media saying now? What are they putting out there? Well, now it maybe is a good time to buy a home. So now you're seeing the media change their tune. You're seeing homeowners start to contact their lender, contact their real estate agents, and want to purchase. So get in front of it. There's going to be people coming and knocking on your door looking for leads if you can call them and make it work. So let's talk about that sad story really quick. A gal named Sarah, a couple years ago, she wanted to buy a home. Sarah, she contacted her parents, first-time homebuyer, said, I want to buy a home, Mom and Dad. I said, great, contact our lender. This guy is going to make sure you get into your home. She contacted the lender, she contacted their real estate agent, and she starts working on getting this lender the documents they needed. Got her the documents. What did he tell her? Well, you're self-employed and you don't file enough income on your taxes. So you need to wait at least 2 more years. So this broker told her that, and she didn't qualify, and she's almost now at 2 years. It's been 2 years. She's been saving her money. She's been paying her taxes. She's been filing more income on her taxes. Now, 2 years later, here we are almost at the end of the year. She sent her tax return for 2022 and her P&L for 2023 over to her loan officer from her realtor's suggestion, who's been doing the job the whole time. The realtor's been calling her and calling her and calling her, saying, we're almost there. What has that lender now told her? Oh, well, it's been 2 years and I see your taxes and your P&L. You still don't qualify. 2 years of waiting, all for that. So this real estate agent was devastated, and so was the buyer. So what happened? This realtor went out to lunch with one of her girlfriends, and the girlfriend said, hey, I'm hearing this sad story you got going on here. Have you checked with any other lenders? Well, no, this guy told me no. Why would I check with somebody? Let me call. So she gets on the phone and she calls me right there at lunch. She says, hey, this is the story. What do you think I should do? I said, call that lender and ask him if he tried a bank statement loan. She did that. And the guy said, I didn't even think of it.
Oh.
2 years and she could have owned a home. So he called her back. She said, oh, you're approved now. You know what that Sarah girl did? She called me, said, I don't want to work with that guy. Feel like he doesn't have my best interest in mind. So now she's in escrow. She's going to buy a home. 2 years of appreciation though, man. Don't let that be your clients. If you have an emergency deal, if you have something blowing up, if you have a client that doesn't qualify, don't give up on them. Make sure you're checking your sources. Make sure you're going out there and doing everything you can for your client. That's our job. That's what we do for our clients. So anyways, if you have any questions or you need anything, would love to help. Anything I can do with today, I think I can answer for you guys.
Can you share about the LLPAs again? That was
Sure.
really cool.
Yeah, I was talking to Johnny and a couple of his guys yesterday, and so earlier this year, anybody know what LLPA is, Micah? You know what that is? Okay, you can't answer. LLPA is loan level price adjustments. What that means is Fannie Mae, basically they put these loan level price adjustments in an interest rate for people that are like lower qualified, right? So if you have a 640 credit score, they're going to raise your interest rate so that you can pay higher points for that rate. Makes sense, right? It's riskier. You should have to pay for that rate. What they've done though is that to help out first-time homebuyers is they have waived loan level price adjustments for anybody that from 640 credit scores and up. You're putting 3% down. And what's going to happen is now you, as a first-time home buyer, putting down 3%, you put 5% or 10% down as well, whatever you want. But if you're a first-time home buyer and you have that lower credit score, you are not going to be affected by those loan level price adjustments. So, and this has happened for a little while, just not getting out there enough. And so I wanted to share this more and more. If you have a client that's worried about qualifying because they just have that lower credit score, or maybe they only have 3% down, they want to save for more so it gets their interest rate better, they shouldn't be worried about that. Those loan level price adjustments will be waived. They will have the same exact interest rate as a 780 credit score buyer putting 25% down.
Can you share what that would mean in terms of interest rate or prices?
Yeah. So if you would have, before they did this, before they removed the LLPAs, and you would have wanted to buy a home at 640 with 3% down, your interest rate today would have been over 8%. So you would have had an 8.25% interest rate, and you probably would have had some points to pay with that as well. Now, that same exact interest rates with those LLPAs waived, you could be almost a whole percentage point lower and have no points being paid. It's a huge reduction in interest rate. It does go against the vacation owners and the investment property owners. It's pulling from there, so it is making those investor loans and those secondary homes a little bit worse, and it's putting them back into the first-time homebuyer pool. Don't tell your investment clients and your second home clients that, but it's helping the first-time homebuyers out. It's a huge opportunity. Don't let your first-time homebuyers sit in the sidelines. Because if they're worried about their credit scores, they're worried about the down payment, they shouldn't be. It's an opportunity in the market for everybody. let's figure out a way to make it work.
And what's it cost to do this loan level price adjustment thing?
It's already in, no
Yeah.
cost. It's just in the rate sheet for everybody.
Awesome. Brent, I see you got your hand raised. Everybody say hi to Brent Gove, everybody.
What's going on, everybody? Good to see you. So real quick, JJ, my son's 20. I just sent you a text. He wants to buy a house. He was finding stuff and he couldn't believe how inexpensive homes were. And he's found all these amazing low price homes. He was shocked. He's so excited. He doesn't realize they're double wide mobile homes. It's pretty funny. I didn't tell him because I want him excited. I'm like, oh yeah, Ty, let's go get your house. But he's been saved up almost $20,000. He just turned 20 and he got together. So get him pre-qualified. If his credit's not there, he should have perfect credit. And then his mom and I will help him. But I think everyone else, ask them, do you have an 18-year-old son, a 19, 20-year-old daughter? Would you like to get them into a house? We can help them get a home because it's owner occupied. And then you just co-sign to help with the income piece. Then they house hack it, put all their friends in, and it's paid for. And instead of waiting till they're 30 to buy a home, maybe like your son or daughter will own a home when they're 48 outright. It doesn't matter what price you pay for it. Am I right, JJ? Am I on the right track?
Dude, 100%. And thank you, Brent. Appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, no problem.
But yeah,
I put his life coach in there and I put his agent. I rattled off a bazillion agents. He goes, oh, I definitely know who I'm going with. I go, who's that? He goes, Barry Mathis. He loves Barry. He's been his Uncle Barry, been in his life his whole time. But and I'm not even gonna ask for a referral fee, Barry.
Brent, it's funny because if you remember, I don't know if you recall or not, but I did that house hacking class at his high school when he was in one of his school projects.
Yep.
And I think
He's finally gonna do it. He's 20. Had to get the courage up. It's a scary thing. But so JJ, get him in one of those low money down, fly by night schemes you're always talking about. I'm just kidding. But hook him up and then but I think for all of you out there and watching online, say to them, do you have a son or a daughter? They have a job, they have decent credit. Let's get them into a home. They can own or occupy it for darn near nothing. And then house hack it, and then you just co-sign. And so, all right, JJ, check your text message. He's waiting for you.
Got it. Thank you, brother.
Awesome.
Cool, baby.
Well, hey guys, Brent, I'm so glad you're here today. Frank has something he wanted to share with you and with the rest of the group. Frank, you able to speak?
Yeah, I assume me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, absolutely. Shout out to Brent. I got to tell you guys a story for a win. This agent Fidel Morales heard me speak about expanding your business in commercial real estate last year or something, and then he just recently heard Brent mention it, and it generated something. He ran into one of his clients and he hooked me up with him because he wanted to sell his 20,000 foot warehouse. So met with him day before yesterday, the client. And unfortunately, fortunately, Fidel was wrong. It wasn't just a 20,000 foot warehouse. This individual who we could have been brothers at some point. We just really connected. It's going to be a $50 million biz op sale, and then the real estate's about 30 million. So Fidel, just because he heard Brent mention it, happened to open the conversation with his client, and it's probably 80 million in volume. So keep your eyes open.
Just for fun, you never want to count your commission till it closes escrow. It's bad luck. I'm a golfer. If I win wearing this orange shirt, I'll wear it tomorrow. And I don't shave because it's obviously my lucky scruff. I'm going to be scruffy tomorrow because I won with it. So, so we're not supposed to count your commission till it closes, but just for everyone to kind of get them thinking this way, because you have contacts, you don't even know it. Fidel just thought maybe. So if this goes together, let's just do it. What's the gross commission on something like this? Roughly,
just on the real estate side, you're a couple million. And then we're 25% referral to Fidel. So
he only gets $500,000. That's really bad. All right,
Yeah.
good. That's amazing.
So,
I know you
Brent-
guys don't want that. None of you want that. Keep Paul Frank a secret. All of you watching online, don't talk about Matt Bingaman. What a stud. Hey, Matt, good to see you. And that's Paul's business associate and commercial. Keep those commercial guys a secret. You don't want that kind of money, you know? So go ahead, Paul. What were you saying?
Well, thanks again for mentioning it. You made Fidel's day, and it was I've got a new friend and a new line of business. So thank you very much.
That's awesome. You both make a fortune. I'm going to Denny's because I'm over 55. I get a discount on the Denny's thing. All right, we're all winning, baby. Let's go.
That's awesome. All right, guys. Well, hey, by the way, we forgot to throw JJ's contact info. So it's in the chat box. It's up on the screen, 916-390-2463. All right. So we were supposed to have the mayor. We do not have the mayor today. He texted or he texted and emailed me this morning saying he is sick. So anyways, send your thoughts and prayers out to the mayor. But he did give me two little nuggets he wanted me to share with you both. And the first one is if you go to capital or just go to roseville.california.us/projects, you can see all the open projects that are happening in the area. So one of the things he was going to speak on was just going over some of these projects in detail. But if you are curious, if your clients are curious, hey, what's happening in the Roseville market? How's the growth? How's the city expected to grow? You can go here and you can do that. So roseville.ca.us/projects. You don't have to do the capital project part. It'll take you right here. Okay. And I will throw this in the chat for everybody else as well.
So it doesn't need the capital project?
You don't need it. Yeah. I mean, you can, it'll take the same place, but if you're writing as fast as you can, roseville.ca.us/projects. And also turns out, I didn't know this, Roseville has an app. So you can go and learn more by going to roseville.ca.us and you can connect with the city. There's all these newsletters you can sign up for that are relevant to you in real estate, or if you're in a different industry, other industries. But you can learn about what's happening in business and what's happening in affordable housing. And he softened the blow by saying he wasn't able to come today, by saying he will come in January. And there's a couple things up in the air that he'll be able to speak to directly. It should be decided this month. So we'll have more exciting developments to share about, I think, a brewery's going in and some other stuff as well, some affordable housing stuff as well.
Stairs at campus.
So yeah. So the good news is that's the bad news. The good news is you always have to have a plan B. And our plan B is phenomenal. He's the host of a talk radio show here in Sacramento. And he's going to be speaking to us about solar. There's been a lot of changes in solar this year, very similar to how there's been a lot of changes in our industry regarding the NAR lawsuits. And so everybody, please welcome to the front of the room, Mr. Sean.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I see some friendly faces in here. This is my second opportunity to speak to you all, and I'm grateful to be here. My background, I was a 22-year former financial advisor, sold that practice in late 2017, and through a series of fortunate steps and missteps, found my way into solar. I renovated some houses, did some flipping in Sacramento, about 12 homes, and realized I did not want to continue to do that for very long, and found my way into solar. So I'm a solar broker, for those of you that maybe aren't familiar with the fact that you can be a solar broker. It doesn't require a specific license, but effectively what I've done is I've aligned myself with over 30 companies in the last 3.5 years to net the 11 that I currently work with now. So my role or my responsibility is to help homeowners understand solar, understand what's out there, and then find the right company to meet their needs. So I've got about 7 different residential real estate installers. I've got 2 commercial solar installers, and I've got 2 companies that do off-grid, remote cabin, in the woods kind of solar. And so as was mentioned, I do host a radio show also. I'm on 3 different stations, on KFBK on Saturdays at 4 p.m. and Sundays at 1:30 p.m. And then I'm also on KHI, which is in Auburn, and then KVGC, which is in Jackson and Ione. that was my background in financial services. It's the way I marketed to clients was through radio. And so I've got a unique opportunity to do that through solar. The show is a 1 hour long form show. So I do education on everything that's going on in the solar industry. And we, as a solar industry, just went through some major disruption earlier this year. Anybody heard of NEM 3, Net Energy Metering 3.0? All right, a few hands raised. So I'll give you a little education as to what happened and then talk about some of the changes that we've seen since I was last here. So in April of this year, April 13th, the California Public Utilities Commission implemented and started effectively Net Energy Metering 3.0. But to understand what that means, I'll go back to December 15th of last year. So December 15th of last year, the CPUC met to vote on this particular decision. In our industry, this was talked about being the solar killer. It was going to end solar in California. And the reality of it is it really had to do a lot with crediting rates as to what you get credit for when you buy and own a solar system. So for context, on any bright sunshiny day in California, think spring and summer, on any bright sunshiny day, most solar systems are going to overproduce. They're going to produce more energy than what the homeowner's using inside the home. Now, last year, for context, under Net Energy Metering 2.0, the way it used to work, when that solar system produced more energy for that homeowner, that energy got exported to PG&E. I'll give PG&E as the example because SMUD's a little different. Got exported to PG&E, and since you bought the system, went through the permitting, had to make the payments, wrote the check for it, whatever, that energy was yours. It got sent to PG&E, and PG&E served as a surrogate battery for homeowners, effectively storing that energy. And then obviously solar only works when the sun's out, right? So if the sun goes down, then normally you're reliant upon PG&E to get the supplemental energy you need over the evening time, over the night. Well, that energy that you stored would come back to you at zero cost from PG&E, which makes sense. You created it, they just held it, they gave it back to you, and that, to me, makes sense. So the CPUC met in December last year, 15th, and I heard hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of homeowners say, vote no on this Net Energy Metering 3.0 change that's coming. Vote no, please vote no, right? I didn't hear anybody say vote yes. And they're supposed to be representative of the public, right? They voted yes. And so what changed this year, April 13th of this year, the exporting rate that people get in PG&E territory. Now, just so you're aware, the CPUC only has purview over the 3 largest utilities in the country, for-profit utilities. That would be PG&E, the Southern California Edison down in LA, and then San Diego Gas and Electric. So the 3 biggest utilities, I'm sorry, in California, not in the nation. And so SMUD is not part of what I'm about to describe to you. But what the change is that now in solar, when you get a system today, and this is really going to matter when you consult with homeowners that are wanting to sell a house with solar. I think how you write this up is going to matter a lot to the value that's perceived from the system. But effectively today, under Net Energy Metering 3.0, any energy that you export from the solar system that goes back to PG&E, guess how much credit you get? Not quite that low. They didn't win that much. That would have been a killer, all right. So if you send them 4 watts of energy, they'll give you credit for 1. It's a 75% reduced benefit for that exported energy. Now, this only matters to the excess. Obviously, whatever the homeowner's using inside the home during the daytime, they consume, that doesn't matter. But it's that stored or excess energy that you normally would have gotten credit for, which has given rise to batteries today. So effectively, solar today for your homeowners, you really need to have battery systems to then store that energy. Think of a banking example. You know, if you go deposit $100 at the bank and you only get access to 25 because they keep the other 75, would you want to bank with that bank? No. I'd bury it in the backyard to get my own safe, right? So the safe is the battery. So if you store that energy now inside the battery, now that battery can push that energy back into the home in the evening time. But let's go back to this change. So one thing that I want you to make sure you understand is that houses that have Net Energy Metering 2.0, the old way, the dollar for dollar credit, those houses don't need a battery because PG&E is still going to serve that. And they grandfathered that in for 20 years past when the system went live. So if you're consulting with a homeowner that got a system in 2017, the end of their one-to-one credit is going to be 2037. They'll be grandfathered in for 20 years on the way that they get credit. And that extends to the new buyer that might buy that house. So do you think, based on how I've described it, that net energy metering 2.0 houses that had solar that began earlier than this year, do you see that that could be a more valuable solar system than the current version of solar today, one that requires a battery? And you'd absolutely be correct on that question.
So the drop dead date for 2.0 and 3.0 and they're out there showing homes would be.
So the deadline was April 13th. And what that means is that homeowners had to have an interconnection agreement with PG&E, which is the formal version of how they would be compensated by the PG&E solar system, the credits that they would get. So effectively, the deadline is the homeowners had to have that agreement in place before the 13th. But PG&E gave them up to 3 years to get the solar installed. So meaning there's not going to be a defined hard fast date that you could say applied to everybody, because I've got clients getting installed now that were contracted before April of this year that are going to get the benefit of that 20-year grandfathering in, right? So you need to, the question that I would ask if I was in your situation, do you know if this is a net energy metering 2.0 system? Do you get the one-to-one credit? Do you have a battery? Because effectively, pretty much every system that's now being sold is going to be sold with a battery. So I think that's
excited. We don't know. It's probably not going to know.
No.
Find out houses too.
I'll give you my contact information. Call me. I'll help you sort it out. That's the reason I'm here, is to give you a positive representation and a contact that can help you figure this stuff out, right? So let me go back to something. You guys have had a lot of attention recently, right? NAR lawsuit, commissions, buyer side, you know, I think it can create a lot of fear and what's going to happen and how's the industry going to change. That was us last year up until April 14th or April 13th, because I thought, is this going to kill the industry? Who's going to want to do this? Now, on the good side, okay, it created a massive flood of business for us. I was never busier than the first 3.5 months of this year. 7 days a week, we wrote a year's worth of solar business in 3.5 months. Okay. Now, having said that, 2 months after, crickets for a bit, right? It was quiet. It was super, super quiet. But I'm here to tell you now that I've never been busier. PG&E keeps raising rates. People want mitigation. And so when you show professionalism, knowledge, expertise, and differentiation, you will thrive post any changes that you might see coming. And I'm just going to say that we went through that. I know you're going to experience some changes in the next year or two. I know that they're trying to appeal the decision, but I think we all understand that change is coming to some form or degree, right? And so I just want to encourage you, you know, stay steadfast, think outside the box, market yourself. Now, I'm not a door knocker. I think those guys have had some challenges recently, but with a really unique mic, literally, I cast a wide net. We've been super busy within the industry. So let me talk about some of the things that we've seen change. So unfortunately, with all change, there's going to be some winners and some losers. So I want to let you know that since the last time I was here, there is a major solar company in the area, Infinity Energy, that is going out of business, bankrupt. They were in 6 states, about 10,000 active projects, and they are no longer. So sometimes that happens. And what's important about their business model, and this is speaking to me about being a broker, they took what we call M1 milestone payments. Effectively, when someone bought solar and did a finance agreement, they got to borrow the future profitability of that deal and use it as capital now. The lenders would advance them, okay? But they had a certain number of days and time to get that system installed. Well, what happened is we had this massive volume of increased business. To use a crude analogy, just to visualize it for you, big old Amazon snake in the Amazon, right, eats a pig. Big old fat thing in the center. That's what happened in the first part of this year, which created a lot of challenges for installers. These guys couldn't get the jobs done in time. The bank then wanted the money back. They clawed it back. They went under. So companies that take these M1 milestones, we don't, as brokers, work with any of them. And I think that's one of the reasons why I have been unscathed through some of these changes. That's some of the background work that we do in terms of our analysis of the companies that we want to work with. Now, anybody recently hear some big PG&E news? Anybody know what I'm referencing? Massive, massive rate hike. Next year, January 1st, 2024, PG&E got another massive rate hike of, anybody know how much?
30%.
They wanted a lot. They wanted 22. They ended up with 13. It's a 13% rate hike for the future. Now, I want you to understand, it's my opinion with some research that I've done that this is just the beginning of more to come. Because think about what we have as green energy goals in California, right? We want to be carbon neutral by 2040. Newsom signed the executive order last year banning or getting rid of natural gas automobiles for sale by what year? 2035, correct. Okay. Now, natural gas hot water heaters and furnaces, they're going by when? 2030. 2030. Now, next year, what's going by? Lawnmowers, weed eaters, blowers, chainsaws, any small combustible off-road engines? No more. So here's what's happening. California is going to force more energy usage on us all by eliminating some of these other forms of using appliances, etc. And meanwhile, PG&E has a huge dilemma. They have been sparking wildfires. They went bankrupt as a result. They cost some people their properties, others their lives, obviously. 91 felony counts against them, convicted, by the way. So what they want to do is they want to underground lines in California. Part of the reason that they asked for a 22% rate hike next year, that's what they asked for, was to underground about 2,100 miles of utility lines. They want to take the overhead lines, put them under the ground, right, to prevent wildfire risk. Does anybody know how many miles of lines they actually need to underground to mitigate that completely? Take a guess. Anybody?
100,000.
Well, you got 1 0 off. 10,000. Okay, 10,000 miles of transmission lines. So they wanted 22% because of 2,100 miles. Got 13. They're going to do 1,700. But do you think they're going to forget about the other 8,400 miles that they need to mitigate to reduce their risk of going bankrupt again? So I see future rate increases coming. Okay, I talked a little bit about this last time. EVs, electric vehicles. So they're going to force more of those on us as well, whether you like it or not. Okay, now some people have said that's not going to happen. You know, there'll be a change. And I would likely agree with that. But if I'm a utility company, what do I have to be doing in 2023 to be prepared for that? I got to assume that's going to stay in place. I got to make plans for it. I got to make infrastructure investments. I got to get prepared. I can't just wait until 2034 and go, okay, are they going to do it or not do it? Okay. So there's a massive amount of money that needs to be spent. So an electric vehicle, a Tesla, anybody own a Tesla? In the back. Okay.
Drew, yeah.
So usually Tesla is 80 to 100 kilowatt hour battery. Okay. So if you drive, and that usually, I'm a little lead footed, so I drive faster than most. So I don't get 300 miles out of a charge, but let's just assume you get 300 miles out of that car. So if you drive a fully electric vehicle 100 miles, okay, bring it back home to charge it up. Anybody have any guess how much energy that car driven 100 miles will consume to charge the battery up fully again, 100%?
As much as the house runs on.
Yes, thank you. Were you here last time?
Maybe.
Oh my God. So if you didn't hear that, so driving 100 miles in a fully electric vehicle, when you bring it back home to charge it up, it will use the same amount of energy that the average house does on a day in California, just to charge it up. If you drive 300 miles, it's going to use 3 houses. So the Tesla Semi, you guys see that around? Okay. That thing has 1,000 kilowatt hour battery on it. When they deplete that battery fully, it takes the same energy that 33 homes use to charge it back up again. Okay. So I just want you to imagine, okay, in California right now, we cannot support how much energy we currently use. Okay. Right now in California, 31% of all of the energy that we need today comes from outside our state borders. Okay. 31%. So now they're stepping on the gas to force all of us to have more electric vehicles, more electric appliances, more electric stuff. Okay. Meanwhile, we can't even handle what we need right now. We buy energy from other states and other countries to meet our needs now. So I look out into the future and I see that this is just the beginning of more rate growth to come. And unfortunately in California, Okay, we don't have energy utility company choice. Your clients buy a house in PG&E territory, guess who they're stuck with? PG&E, right? PG&E electricity. So with that being said, solar, in my opinion, is the only way that your homeowners have a chance to get ahead of this. Your fixed income homeowners, are their incomes going up at 13% a year, 18% a year? No. How many of you have heard of people wanting to get out of California just because they can't afford to live here any longer?
Yeah.
Right? Now in PG&E territory, I would argue that PG&E is also responsible for the biggest percentage of what? Property and casualty fire insurance costs. Your rural property owners, have they seen their home insurance costs double, triple, or quadruple in the last 3-4 years?
Yeah.
And how much of that lands on the back of PG&E? Right? So during this radio show that I do, I talk about PG&E a lot. They are the big bully. They're too big to fail, right? If they could have failed, they would have failed when they went under bankruptcy a few years ago, but they reorganized, came back out of it, and then touted the fact in the first quarter of last year that they had record profitability last year, okay? So as a broker, there's a few things that have changed since this big change in April. So number one, battery prices have come down substantially. And the variations of batteries available now, there's twofold. Used to be batteries were backup and cost savings. So effectively what that means is the extra energy that your solar system produces on any given day, stored in the battery to be pushed into the house in the evening time when the sun goes down. That's called cost savings. It doesn't provide backup power to the house. It's just meant to make solar make you more money or save you more money versus PG&E, okay? Those costs come down precipitously. Batteries before were about 20 grand. Now we've got 9 to 10 grand, you know, so it's more economical than they used to be. And a lot of people don't really need backup because what you don't understand about battery backup is it usually is 5 to 6 circuits for a battery. And so you're talking a few lights and plugs, refrigerator, freezer, internet, security, the basics, you know, not your whole house. People think it's the whole house. You probably have to have, most people have to have 3 or 4 batteries to be able to do that. And it gets cost prohibitive to do that, right? Interest rates right now on solar financing, not great, as you can imagine. Everything is not great right now. So I don't necessarily prefer financing, but let's talk about cash. And I'll talk about another program that's come out that you might find curious or of interest to you and your clients. So on a cash basis right now, for solar only, okay, as a broker working with the 11 different companies that we deal with, most of our clients are seeing a net positive return of their capital on the solar investment in 5 to 7 years, okay? That's a pretty good timeline. That's PG&E territory. SMUD is less expensive, so it takes longer in SMUD territory to get that back, but about 5 to 7 years. Adding a battery to that system, you're bringing another year or 2, okay, to that equation, right? So on a cash basis, and that presumes that PG&E is staying flat at current cost. We're not assuming, like I think, they're going to continue to step on the gas of raising rates in the future because the CPUC doesn't have any teeth against PG&E. They just basically do whatever PG&E wants, right? So again, I do think more rates are coming down in the future. Now, beforehand, I said, when you buy a house in PG&E territory, you're stuck with PG&E, all right? So since this big change in solar this year, there's a company out of Florida that is now challenging PG&E. So if you've never heard of them, they're called Next Era Energy, okay? Publicly traded company. Ticker symbol is NEE. Third largest utility in the nation, okay, about 150 billion in market cap today. Next Era wants to come into California and compete with PG&E's business because PG&E energy is 80% more expensive than the rest of the nation, okay? PG&E owns all of the infrastructure of Northern California. So these guys want to come in and compete for PG&E business using solar as the chassis. So here's their proposition. They will install a solar system, ground mounted or roof mounted, on your client's property, give them one of the smartest batteries that I've seen available today, not charge them, no loan in their name, no finance balance, they don't have to write a check, okay? The system will be installed assuming that the homeowner agrees to buy the energy that the solar system creates. So they'll front the cost of the solar as long as the homeowner will buy the energy that the system creates. So for context, PG&E daytime rates without any kind of care discount or anything like that, most people are paying 39 cents a kilowatt hour. Daytime. Evening time, Tier 2 usage between 3 and 9. Any guesses what that cost is? 59 cents. Great job. So 39 cents in the daytime, 59 cents in the evening time. So the question is, next era, what are they charging for their system? 18 to 24 cents. Wow. Most of our clients are seeing a 30 to 70% savings versus what they're spending with PG&E, and they didn't have to write the check to buy the system, and they don't have to get a loan in their name or finance it that way. It's just immediately cheaper energy for them. So going back to what I said before, on a cash basis, you write a check for solar, okay, 5 to 7 years, add a battery, another year or two. That's just the point where you get your recovered capital back. Now you've got to wait another 5, 10 years to get a plus positive return, right? So I tell people, here's how my old financial advisor brain. If you're going to stay in California 15 years at a minimum, but ideally 20 years or longer, paying cash for solar is probably your best option, best return on investment overall. But if your window is anything less than that, okay, then I would encourage you and your clients to consider other alternatives, because that next era system, if I don't have to write the check for it, I don't have to get a loan, there's no balance in my name, and then the month after the system's installed, I start saving money. Dollar saved is a dollar earned. My return's positive immediately and only gets better. Now, the one disadvantage of that program where paying cash has the edge is that when you pay cash, you got no payment. You're still buying energy with this other system. But let me tell you what I think is the advantage. Some people see it as the disadvantage. So next era, in their purchase of energy contract, they have a no greater than, well, let me back up a step. How many people in this room think, given what I just described is happening in PG&E territory, how many people think PG&E energy is going to probably go up at greater than 3.5% a year? Okay. 18% last year, 13% next year. I would agree with you. So this next era program, contractually constrained, they cannot in any given year over a 25-year period of time ever raise the rates more than 3.5%. Okay. So your homeowners aren't going to get blindsided with an 18%, 13%. Super easy to transfer to a new buyer, automatic transferring to a new buyer. So I just want to know that's a new program since all of this change occurred early in this year. So I've thrown a lot at you. Let me pause for a second. Anybody have any questions on anything that I've talked about thus far? Go ahead.
I actually have a question exactly using information implementing in real estate. I showed a house 2 days ago to someone. They love the house, they're an investor, they want to buy it as a rental property. But as soon as they saw the solar agreement, they decided to pass on the house.
Okay.
So the solar agreement is at $79,000.
Is it a lease?
It's a lease
Okay.
for 25 years, and they do have a battery storage service.
Okay.
So if I wanted to give them one positive thing about moving forward with that, what would that be?
It's going to be cheaper than PG&E. A lot cheaper. So I'm not a big fan of leases. So in all of my time, I've done 0 leases. Okay.
So he's not thinking as a person who's living there, because he has to rent out. So
Yeah.
utilities are renter's problem.
Yes.
Yeah, so this is.
Well,
something
he
like-
can get the arbitrage. So on an investor, the idea would be that whatever the cost of the solar lease is, he could get the arbitrage of including utilities as part of the rent. In other words, increase the rent to cover the cost of the solar, and then maybe a little margin if you wanted to, if there's an opportunity for that.
Oh.
Yeah. Other questions?
Good
Go ahead.
question, man.
The New Era Energy, was that already been approved?
Yes.
So they're.
Yes.
So how do you have that option? Is that an option that we can provide our home buyers?
Yeah, well, all you do is basically, you have to have so there's no loan, okay? But they want to know if they're going to put a $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 solar system on somebody's house, that they're going to be able to collect the energy payment for what it costs for the energy. So 650 FICO qualifier, soft inquiry, not hard. But if as long as you got that, and the house is ideally suited for solar, because every roof is different, okay? Every property is different. You know, when I do this radio show, so people call me up, hey, Sean, my nickname on the radio is Graybeard. So, hey, Graybeard, hey, like I got a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,800 square foot house. How much is solar going to cost me? And I'm like, you just gave me no information that's helpful. Okay, just absolutely 0. Why don't you tell me about your temperature preferences in the summer, your temperature preferences in the winter, tell me how old the insulation is in the house, and and a few other things, and I'll be able to quote you a solar system. So the reality of it is that that program is available, but it is through solar. So you got to install a system, comes with a battery, but I'd be happy to chat with you offline, and I'll have some contact information that you can share. Other questions? Anybody else?
I got, can you hear me, Sean?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Two quick questions on that next era PPA. What's the exit protocol? You were talking about the FICO. If you sell the house, what's the process for getting approval? Question number one. Then question number two, do you have any experience with commercial farms, microgrids? We're dealing with some ground leases, and was going to follow up with you if you have any experience with that.
So on the second question, I don't. Most of my experience is residential. I've never done farms or ground leases or anything like that. But I'd be happy to chat with you. I might know some people that can be a connection for you. But relative to options, once you transact a house for sale, so 100% automatic transfer. So if somebody can credit qualify, okay, so 650 FICO or greater, it's an automatic transfer. If they can't credit qualify, it's a $250 transfer fee that then automatically transfers it. So I would argue that most people that are going to buy a house are going to probably qualify with credit, because either paying cash, and how do you have a FICO below 650 if you're paying cash, and then a conventional loan, they're probably going to have greater than that. The options at sale. So here's three options. You can transfer, and think about it this way. If I'm right about the future, so this system grows at 3.5%, but as I said before, I think PG&E is going to grow faster. So the savings of this program is going to get better with time. The amount of savings will grow with time, because what it's avoiding would have gotten more expensive. Right. So how hard is it going to be to ask a new buyer, do you want to pay $200 a month with this next era power purchase program, or do you want to go retail with PG&E at $850 a month? Which one's your choice, right? So you can transfer it that way. You can buy the system, and each year has a specified purchase amount that you could buy it for. Or the alternative is, if there's only a little bit of time left, you might want to prepay if it's the sticking point with the homeowner that's trying to buy the house, prepay the remaining payments on it, let them use it, and then they have the option of using it without them having any kind of cost or assuming any portion of it. And for those of you that want more information, I'm happy to share that. So right now, I will tell you, at the radio show, I give out some information for myself. If you guys take out your smartphones, and here's what I would say: if you yourself are interested in solar or have a referral, I will share this with you. We do pay $1,000 for your referrals. So comes a little bit of our margin. We've negotiated with our installers to have some of it come out of their margin. But if you refer somebody to me that ends up getting a solar system, we'll pay $1,000 for that referral. So here's what you want to do: take out your phone, and it's a 5-digit text code, 84503. If you text SOLAR, SOLAR, to 84503, I'll reach out, send you my contact information, touch base. If you'd like to explore any of these programs further, I'm happy to do that with you. Again, that's SOLAR, SOLAR, to 84503. Any last questions for me before I give up the mic?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of people throwing around the word arbitrage in real estate. How do you say more about that, how that benefits the whole way?
Well, the idea is that, like on this program, if I'm an investor and I own investment property, and I'm trying to make money on the rents of the property, if I can advertise that it's a green energy property, utilities included. So this program, you know how much the energy is going to cost for the year, and it's detailed each and every year. So I can bake that into a rental agreement and then get a little margin on utilities if I wanted to. If the system's $200, maybe I say, utilities included up to a certain amount, and it's a $300 flat fee charge that you're adding to the rent. So you're getting a little, profit on the fact that you've installed the system. That's for investors.
Okay, cool.
Okay. Anybody else?
One of my coworkers was saying that PG&E is trying to make it so that if you make over a certain amount a year, you don't qualify for solar discounts.
It's not that you don't qualify for solar discounts, but what is coming next year is an income means test. Basically, they're going to take some of the cost of their infrastructure. Right now, it's all rolled into the rate that we all pay, the 39 to 59 cents, right? They're going to break that out and then means test it with income. You make the most money, you make a lot of money, you're going to pay more as a fixed charge, regardless of how much energy you use. You make less, you're going to pay less. So effectively, people that have higher incomes are going to bear the burden. And I don't know how they're going to figure out your income. I don't have any of that. That's still left to be seen. But effectively, it's going to charge you some of those fixed income, regardless of your electricity usage. So some of your clients that have a $20 utility bill from PG&E because they live like Amish folk, they're going to see if they make a lot of money, they're going to see a big increase in cost, attributable to that. Okay. I don't want to go over my time. I feel like I'm up the end. Was this helpful to everybody?
Thank you. All right, everybody, that is it for today. Thank you so much for coming. See you next Thursday. We'll have Burl on Zoom. You don't want to miss it. Bye all.